Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing great. And let's start with today's story, titled, My Girlfriend of 3 Years Cheated on Me, Got Pregnant, and Later She Tried Pleading with Me to help her and take her back. This happened years ago, and I thought it would be worth sharing. My ex-girlfriend and I had what you might call an average relationship. We had our ups and downs, but we always managed to work things out. I noticed she started acting strangely and being secretive. I asked if everything was okay, and she snapped at me. She was also getting sick. Her daughter told me she was throwing up. One day, I messaged her, and she never responded. I called her, and there was no answer. This wasn't unusual for her. However, the next day, I still heard nothing from her. This went on for a week. I went to her place, but she wasn't there or she wouldn't answer the door. She totally ghosted me. I texted her and asked if I did something wrong. I can see she saw my texts, but she wasn't responding. She's a religious person, so I texted her, I'm sorry for whatever I did. Even Jesus forgave Judas. She finally responded by saying, God forgives all, and she put something that I can't remember. She then told me never to text her again. She then blocked me from everything. I was crushed. It took me a few weeks just to process this. Then about 3 months later, by coincidence, I was dropping off a patient at the hospice facility where she worked. I didn't see her SUV in the parking lot, so I figured she wasn't there. I was talking to the nurse and she recognized me and asked how she was doing. I told her we had broken up, and the nurse told me my ex was terminated because she damaged one of the company vehicles. Then she dropped the bombshell. She asked if I was going to take care of the baby when it was born. She was pregnant at that time. I think she was 5 months pregnant. It wasn't my baby either because I had got the snip after my daughter was born. I felt my stomach drop after that. It took me a while, but I finally moved on with my life and started dating a registered nurse I met at the hospital. It had been about a year and a half since all that happened. Then out of the blue, I started getting texts from a number I didn't recognize. They were all about forgiveness and hoping I was doing well in life. I didn't respond back. Then one day when I was getting off duty from the fire department, I saw a note on my truck, and it was from my ex. She was asking me to please meet her, but after giving it some thought, I decided not to for the simple fact she cheated on me, and my dad taught me if the person you loved and gave your life to does that to you, then they're no good for your life. The number I blocked shortly after that. A few days later, I arrived home and she was there waiting. I ignored her and kept walking, and she pretty much made a scene. I told her, what the hell do you want? And she said she was sorry. The father of her daughter came back into her life and she wanted to be with him again, and she didn't know how to tell me he got her pregnant and then left her again. She was asking for help because she couldn't afford to pay her bills and support her 2 daughters. She was also going to be evicted from her place. The job she had wasn't paying enough. I was indifferent about the whole thing. I was mad at her because of what she did, but I felt bad for her daughters. I cared a lot for her oldest daughter. So I did something with thinking. I handed her $100 and told her to buy them food and said, swallow your damn pride and move back in with your mother. Her and her mother have a very rocky relationship, but she knows she was always welcomed there. She was pleading for me to take her back because I was the only boyfriend who treated her with care, despite our ups and downs. I told her I'm not taking her back, and I'm not going to continue this conversation with her. I asked her to leave, and she cried. I felt really bad, but I felt that was necessary. I heard after that she did move back in with her mom. Last I heard of her was that she got her teacher's license, and she's teaching at an elementary school. I'm happy with my current girlfriend now, and we were actually talking about marriage. And they always come back. She thought you were still the same stand-up guy who'd clean up another guy's mess. Glad you had the spine to not fall for the BS. And next, the second story. Fiancé, 28 male, wants to end our relationship because I, 27 female, didn't choose him first. I'm sorry if this whole thing sounds a little rushed, but my fiancé Ryan, who I've been with for 7 years, told me today that he's not sure whether he wants to be with me anymore. And I realize it may sound stupid, but I love him so much, it feels like my world is falling apart around me. I don't know what I can do. This all started a couple days ago when we were celebrating our anniversary. We invited a bunch of people, including one of my closest friends, Ellie. She noticed my fiancé being affectionate towards me and made some stupid comment about how she told me so, that Ryan would be better for me than my ex, Andy. My fiancé was a little confused and asked Ellie what she meant. Back when I was in college, Andy and Ryan both asked me out to the same event. I'd known Ryan since high school and we'd always had a thing, but we weren't a couple. On top of that, he went to another college that was a half-hour drive away from me. Andy went to my college, his dorm was a 5-minute walk away, and he was someone completely new. I began to feel like my relationship with Ryan wouldn't be exciting enough because we already knew almost everything about each other. With the added headache of being half an hour away from each other, despite Ellie's protests, I decided to go with Andy. I know my reasoning is beyond stupid, but I never thought that this decision had the potential to blow up my future. Ryan was already hurt that I declined his request to go on a date. I didn't want to make him feel worse by telling him that I was going with someone else. Not that it mattered because he stopped talking to me for about 6 months. During this time, it became obvious that me and Andy weren't right for each other, so we ended it. When me and Ryan began talking again, I realized how much I missed him and that he was perfect for me, so I asked him out. He was overjoyed, and that's how we got to this point. For the rest of the party, I could tell that his mood was off. He kept pulling away from my kisses and touches and responded to me with short one-sentence answers. After the party, when I asked him what was wrong, he just said that he felt sick. For the next 2 days, he continued to be cold and distant. I had no idea what was happening, so I waited patiently for him to become comfortable enough to tell me. Today he told me the reason he'd been acting off. From the story, it sounded like I had kept him as my backup or plan B in case my relationship with Andy failed, and that it was especially messed up since we'd obviously had feelings for each other long before then. He also said that he deserved to be someone's first choice. I thought that this was just an insecurity that we could get through, but then he went on to say that he's not sure whether he can see our relationship in the same light anymore, so it might be best if we split up. I pleaded with him that we don't need to take it that far and that we should go to counseling or even just live separately for a few days while he thinks about whether this is what he actually wants. So far, he hasn't said anything except that he absolutely refuses to go to therapy. I can tell that this is weighing on him heavily because he's been drinking more than usual, but I don't know what to say to make him feel better. We've had a beautiful relationship. He's never been overly jealous or possessive, and although neither of us are perfect, I couldn't ask for a more loving, respectful, intelligent, and charming soon-to-be husband. I don't understand how all of that could come to an end for a foolish mistake that I made 7 years ago. I don't know exactly what I'm looking for by posting on here, but if anyone has any advice, please let me know. Edit, I think I may have messed up on my wording. He doesn't care that I dated someone else before him. It bothers him that I had the choice between him or Andy, and I chose Andy. And the update. So a few people have asked for an update. It's been a little over 2 weeks now, so I'm not sure if anyone is even interested anymore. After what happened in the last post, he said that we should put off the wedding while we decide how to proceed. That means something, right? He used the exact words, put off, instead of cancel and while we decide how to proceed. I think that means he hasn't decided that we should break up yet. Maybe he'll just decide not to marry, but to continue our relationship. I don't think he's ready to give up our relationship yet, but he's moved into a hotel. I know some people have told me to give him space, but I've decided that even if a part of him is willing to stay with me, I'm going to do everything I can to give me another chance. I've been dropping off food, leaving notes under his door, and we've been calling every day, sometimes twice a day. Right now, we're both stuck in limbo. Most of the time, we talk about how much we miss each other, the plans we had, and me convincing him that he's my soulmate, and that regardless of whatever happened with Andy, I know we would have ended up together. Then there are other moments where he calls in the middle of the night, having obviously been crying, and asking questions like, what did he have that I didn't? Did you love him? Was he better in bed? Was he better looking than me? Do you still think he's better looking than me? What does more exciting mean? Do you wish he gave you another chance? He says that he wants to be with me desperately, but when he thinks about me, it's seared into his mind that I was always his first choice, but he will always have been my second. It hurts him that we had feelings for each other all the way through high school, but the moment I met Andy, none of that meant anything anymore. Which must have meant I thought Andy was worth my time and he wasn't. It breaks my heart to hear him holding back his tears and trying to cry silently, but I swear I'll do anything to save our relationship, and part of that means not hiding anything from him. I've begged him to reconsider going to therapy, but he absolutely will not budge. Some of our mutual friends are saying that they're not sure if he'll recover from this, but I don't care. He hasn't told me to stop trying, so I'm not going to. I wish to God that I could go back and change the past because I love him more than anything, including myself. It feels like I'm in some sort of surreal nightmare. Less than a month ago, we were laying in bed fighting over which of us got to name our kids, and now a seemingly insignificant mistake that I made 7 years ago might wipe away the beautiful future I want with Ryan. All I can do right now is be there and hope that he can give me another chance, but I don't know what he's thinking. I know this isn't a common relationship problem, but if anyone has anything they can give me, whether it's advice or even reassurance that things are going to work out, please tell me. TLDR, our wedding is put off for now. He's moved to a hotel and we talk every day, but he hasn't decided yet whether he still wants to be with me. And the second update. He called an hour ago. Some of his friends found this post and showed it to him, so he called angry, asking, why would I tell strangers about our personal problems? And how is he supposed to face his friends and family now after they all know that the only reason I'm with him is because Andy broke up with me? After reading the comments, he realized that it wasn't right for him to keep me in the dark for so long without making a decision. He's decided that we should go our separate ways so that I can decide whether it really is him that I want to be with and that he wasn't just the convenient choice. For now, I can't describe how I'm feeling. It's like I'm so tired I just want to go to sleep forever. I know some of you have the impression that he's a horrible man, but this was just a small fragment of our relationship and doesn't reflect who he is as an individual in the slightest. He's the guy who spent days learning about my major on top of his own studies so that he could help me study for exams and proofread my coursework. He spent thousands of his own hard-earned money to give my parents their dream vacation to Australia and insisted that I say I paid for it because they'd feel bad taking money from him. When my ex threatened to leak nudes that I'd sent him when we were together, I was terrified that he would leave. He took me out to my favorite restaurant and said that there was nothing anyone else could do or say that would ever affect how much he loves me, and then he asked me to marry him so I'd never have to worry about him leaving ever again. My fiancé is the best man that I've ever known, and the assumptions that everyone here has made from hearing about such a small part of our lives is disgusting. And I didn't come here for people to convince me that he's immature, insecure, or any of that. I should have known better than to post here, but all I can hope for now is that he sees this. To my fiancé, I don't know what I can say to make this better, and I don't know if you'll be able to heal from this. What I can say is that you are wrong in thinking that I chose you out of convenience. I chose you because you're the most thoughtful, handsome, intelligent, and charming man that I've ever known. Every single moment that we've had together for the last 7 years, every kiss that we've shared, every bagel that we've split, and every I love you that I've said was meant for you, and was an affirmation that you are and always will be my first choice. I don't believe that you want to cut our lives together short. I think that you were trying to heal from the consequences of a mistake that I made. And then I inadvertently set a fire underneath you by forcing you to come to a decision, by making this post. Take as long as you need to do whatever it is that you need to do to heal from this, and I'll be here waiting for when you're ready to talk. If you decide that this is something that we can not overcome, I would accept your decision, but I know we are stronger than this. I love you so, so much. And the edit. I know this is starting to get really long, but he read my open letter and got in contact with me to say that he's not promising anything except that he'll listen. He still refuses to see a therapist because he doesn't view our relationship as strong enough that there's anything to salvage right now. However, some people here have expressed that they wish they could give him advice directly, and I've convinced him to talk to others who have experienced this and healed from it. And now to the final update. Before I get into the update, I want to say that I asked my ex-fiancé before posting this, and he said it's fine as long as I don't give away any details that could reveal us to more of our friends and family. I've always been the type of person who values other people's input when it comes to making big decisions, and he knows that. A lot has happened since the last update. After we spoke, he went completely quiet for around 2 weeks for time to think. The waiting was almost unbearable, but he promised that as soon as he had an answer for me, he would contact me. I wasn't allowed to come to his hotel, to drop off food, try to see him, or any sort of contact. When he finally called, the first thing that he established was that our relationship was over. However, despite our relationship ending, he still wants to be with me. If I still want to be with him, we can restart our relationship completely from the beginning with the board wiped clean. In his own words, while you look back at our relationship and see something wonderful, I look back at it in disgust because you lied by omission every single day. Initially, I was ready to agree on the spot, but he insisted that I take the week to decide whether I really want this. His logic is that if I choose to restart our relationship from the beginning now, he will be my first choice. Later on in the week, it began to settle what this would mean. I would go from fiancé back to girlfriend. I don't know when he is going to propose again. I don't want children until we're married, so I don't know how long that's going to be. In short, it would completely throw off the life plans we had. I asked for a little more time, and he didn't want me to resent him in the future, so agreed to give me as much time as I needed to come to a decision. This is a better outcome than I expected, and maybe better than I deserve, but I would be lying if I said that I don't wish things could go back to normal. I've decided that I'm going to agree to starting over. It just really hurts that the past 7 years don't mean anything anymore. Not long ago, we celebrated our 7th anniversary, but this time next year, we'll be celebrating our 1st anniversary again. TLDR. He broke up with me but gave me the option of starting over with a new relationship as boyfriend and girlfriend. That would rectify my mistake and make him my first choice. I've had some time to think, and I've decided that I'm going to agree. And the edit. He read the post and wanted to address some of the comments. If we do restart our relationship, he won't hold anything over my head. It'll be exactly as he said, and our relationship would start over completely. He's so confident of this that he insists I leave him if he ever slips up and brings it up when we argue. Some people have said that being first is just an arbitrary construct, but that doesn't mean anything. Marriage is a construct, monogamy is a construct, etc. Something being a construct doesn't make it any less real or capable of inflicting pain. A reminder that this isn't about me dating people before him. He doesn't care about that. He cares that I knew him for years, that we had a bond in high school, and that he waited until we were in college so we could officially be a couple. It's come up very often that the length of our relationship should have some influence over his decisions. He says it does because it makes it even worse. I never told him about what happened during those 6 months while we were together. On top of that, I wasn't the one to tell him in the end. You know everything about each other, so he can only assume that I consciously hid it from him. Now here's a twist. There was a post from her fiancé telling his side of the story, which was later deleted, where he said, and she admitted in the comments, that they were a couple in high school and just couldn't date openly because of their parents. When she didn't go on the date with him, she was basically breaking up with him. She also admitted that Andy dumped her because she wanted a relationship and he was just looking for hookups. She basically admitted that Ryan was right and he was her backup plan. Because even when she started dating Ryan officially, she was still trying to get Andy to take her back. And they did break up because she couldn't handle starting their relationship over and wanted to just pretend the whole thing never happened. He later commented in the post, "I'm not insecure, fragile, or irrational. The fact is that our old relationship is now ruined in my eyes. It's ruined because she took away my ability to make an informed decision 7 years ago. If I had known the circumstances of her return, I'm not afraid to say that I would have told her to go F herself. Now I'm giving her the option to restart our relationship with me knowing all the facts. This time we'll be equals." This changes the whole narrative. So basically she did cheat on him. Obviously no one likes being the plan B. It's funny how OP hid this information and people were calling him insecure. Discovering your relationship was built on a lie hurts. It looks like they've already broken up. Now it's best for both to go their separate ways and start fresh with new people. And that's it for today. Dear viewers, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss out. See you next time. Bye-bye.